This is the story of how the only black man to come from Africa to Japan lived through the harsh era of the Warring States period. 1560. Mozambique, a vast grassland, stretches out. With forests and mountains visible in the distance, there was a village there. Nearly 200 people lived in that village, making their living by hunting. The leader of this village had a son named Isaac, who was 10 years old. The son respected and looked up to his father, who was the leader. The leader says to Isaac, "Learn hunting well. It will also be useful in battle when the time comes." Yasuke replies, "Yes, hunting is fun, so you can learn a lot." Next day, Isaac is walking across the vast grasslands together with the village hunters. Its prey consists of medium-sized animals such as sheep, pheasants, and antelopes. The weapons are a bow and a spear. The bow has a range of about 20 meters. It's also coated with poison, so if it hits something, it can inflict a fatal wound. Spears already have sharp iron-forged spearheads, so to inflict a fatal wound on them, you'd need to be about 10 meters away. Up ahead, Yasuke and the others spotted a herd of antelopes. They crouched low and quietly approached the antelope. The secret to hunting is how well you can eliminate sound and scent. What matters is the wind. The wind carries sound and scent. So, when you're approaching your prey, be mindful of the direction of the wind. Isaac had learned many things through hunting. Today, the hunting party leader asked me to throw the first spear. Couldn't land a fatal blow. That matter, Isaac was frustrated. Because of that, Isaac went hunting every day. He was trying to become fully competent as quickly as possible. One night, the leader and Yasuke went out. There is a hill overlooking the village. The leader said, "My son, listen carefully. We are the descendants of the great Zimbabwe. We built stone cities and forged iron. That town no longer exists. We inherit the spirits of our ancestors. You have the duty of carrying on that soul. Never forget that, no matter what happens. Look, those stars are the souls of our ancestors. Our ancestors are watching over you, anytime, from anywhere. Never forget that." Isaac became anxious. Where are you going?" "Stay here forever." The leader gazes at the night sky. He didn't say anything. On a certain hunting day, while they were having a meal, a hunter said, "Hey, I heard from a guy in the neighboring village. Do you know?" They asked, "What is this about?" "It is a rumor that nearby villages have been being attacked recently." Everyone asked back, "Is there really such a story?" According to the rumor, the attackers are fellow Africans, armed with a fire-breathing weapon, and are attacking villages. "I've heard of weapons that spew fire as well," said one of the hunters. "I heard. It was brought in by someone who wasn't African." Another hunter asked, "What happened to the village that was attacked then?" What the guy from the neighboring village said was, "They say they only take away children and young people." Everyone said in surprise and anger, "That's awful." Everyone said that this matter should be reported to the leader. Isaac remembered the conversation with his father on that hill. He thought that his father might already know. Everyone is gathered in the leader's tent. The older hunter asked the leader, "Is it true that the nearby villages are being attacked with weapons that breathe fire? Who are those people attacking them? Why do they have weapons that spit fire?" The leader answered, "I don't know much about them, but we do know they're a tribe that has been expanding its power with fire-spitting weapons." The older hunter asked the leader if they should acquire the weapon that spits fire. The leader frowned and replied that it was impossible, because the rumor is that those weapons are traded only with us Africans. So, they attacked the village, and there, in that village, they traded the villagers they had captured for weapons. We are descendants of Great Zimbabwe. I cannot betray my own people by selling them. Later, a man named Bokassa, who had been listening, lamented, "How do you expect us to fight without firearms?" The older hunter silenced Bokassa, and he asked the leader again, "Is there any way for us to fight them without firearms? Or do you have something else in mind?" The leader answered, "Just as I expected, there are only two. Will we fight or leave this place and head west to settle in the mountains?" "We can't all leave the place we've lived in for so many years," everyone said at once. "We've never even lived in the mountains. How does one fight?" They all asked each other. The leader nodded and pointed at the map on the ground. "Build the fence like this. Also, post guards around the clock," the leader replied. Yasuke listened with pride and admiration, deeply moved to discover that his father had already anticipated the challenges and carefully planned for them. From that day on, all the villagers worked together to build a palisade. After a week of work, the fence was finally completed. The fence was built like a maze, and only the villagers knew the way through it. Beneath a tree away from the village, a few people are talking beneath a tree. Bokassa speaks to everyone. "Do you really think that fence could stop men armed with firearms?" One of them said that the leader stood a chance if it came to close quarters combat. Bokassa said, "I don't see it that way. I'm getting out of here. I couldn't care less whether I'm a descendant of Great Zimbabwe or not. The important thing is to stay alive. I'm sneaking out tonight, so come with me," he said, inviting everyone along. Everyone was still hesitant. Meanwhile, around that time, dozens of men armed with firearms appeared from the east. They were walking west. The captain called out to the guide, "Hey, are you sure this is the right direction?" "Yes. I heard it from the man we captured the other day. He said there's one in a village of about 200 people in this direction." "Well, all right. We'll find out once we capture one of them." That night, the men from the east rested around a campfire. Then, a patrol guard brought a man before the captain. This guy was sneaking around the grasslands at night, so we captured him. It seems he's from a village to the west. His name was Bokassa. "Oh, that's nice." The captain spoke to Bokassa through an interpreter. "If you cooperate with us, I'll spare you." That day, the adults were all busy. Only Yasuke and the boys went out on a hunting trip. At night, a figure appears on top of a cliff. The guards are taken care of now. The captain said to Bokassa, "Hey, where's the way through to the village?" Bokassa pointed and said, "This way, please." In the village, the villagers are happily listening to an old man's story. At that very moment, a deep guang rang out. Suddenly, the attackers smashed through the barricades and surged into the village like a raging tide, assaulting the villagers. As screams and gunfire rang out, terrified villagers fled in every direction, and the village descended into chaos. As the houses burned and villagers fled in terror, the leader shouted, "Where are the guards? Rally the troops!" His voice was drowned out by the villagers' screams and the sound of gunfire. The attackers ran around, and they spared no one among the villagers. And before long, the village was devastated. The following day, Yasuke and the others returned from the hunt, only to find their village in ruins. They stood frozen in shock. Isaac snaps back to reality. He ran off to find his mother and the leader. He then found his father and mother lying motionless on the ground, but they were already gone. He screamed in anguish. After burying the two of them, he cried throughout the night. The next day, he learned that Bokassa had betrayed us. He became enraged and vowed revenge. Then, alone, he headed east in pursuit of them. Meanwhile, they were marching east with the villagers they had captured. Bokassa walks at the front, leading the group. "Hey, Bokassa! You've done well this time. I'll introduce you to our leader," the captain said. "We'll make you one of us." With a joyful smile, Bokassa replied, "Thank you very much." A few days later, Yasuke finally caught up with them. He thought that Bokassa alone was unforgivable. He hid for days, following the group and waiting for the right opportunity. One day, the villagers hurled insults at Bokassa. They were shouting, "Traitors, go to hell!" Bokassa smirks and says, "You losers, the strong always come out on top." Hidden in the nearby grass, Yasuke knew this was the opportunity he had been waiting for. Then he drove his spear into Bokassa. He fell. However, he found himself surrounded by the guards. The guards yelled, "Who the hell is this brat? Get him!" Just then, the commander rode into view on horseback. He struck Isaac hard on the head with a club. Isaac passed out. "They're merchandise. Don't damage them," the captain said. Isaac was captured. When Isaac woke up, he saw crowds of people walking around, and Isaac, too, was bound in chains. I started to feel anxious about what would happen next, but he had taken his revenge on Bokassa, so he thought nothing else mattered anymore. He knew there was no going back to his former self. He was taken to a port by the sea. There, a man who wasn't African was talking to the captain who had brought us there. "Looks like we're being sold to a non-African. This man is not African, and neither is that large vessel." To Isaac, it seemed terrifying. After the negotiations between the two had concluded, we were herded onto the ship. He knew that once he stepped aboard this ship, there would be no turning back. No one could resist. Then, a ship packed with Africans set sail into the rough seas.